Today, we introduce the Private Home Funding Program. Now, remember, this is not the NRELS, and it is certainly not the old school model. This is a brand new program, and we call it the Private Home Funding Program.
Good morning, humanitarians. This is Ron Giles. I'm here with Tracy and Dominic and Kristen, and we're going to do a video on the new Private Home Funding Program. It's one of the most exciting things we have we have created from my perspective. A lot of people have been helping with this, and Dom is one of the ones. Ryan has been helping and doing the work, a lot of the work, and so has Amanda. And there's been a number of others that have participated in and have added to what we're trying to accomplish. So it's a collaborative effort, and I'm just really excited about it and feel like we've got something that everybody's going to love.
I want to thank you and your leadership in this and the Alliance. Just a quick backstory. The Alliance has made it clear through Ron that we are being tasked to take care of some really significant things in our programs to be able to offer that to basically to the world. And so this particular piece of the real estate industry is such a big piece that Ron got with Kristen and Tracy, and then got with myself and Amanda to set up a group to come up with some solutions to some tasks that they were actually asking us to achieve, and to really step into it and solve it ourselves. And so, Ron, your leadership has allowed us to do that with the guidance from the Alliance. And Kristen, you've been so beneficial, and Tracy as well, to kind of keep us in our lane and point us in the direction we needed to go with this. And along with you, Ron, I want to thank Amanda especially for spearheading the group. And then we have a group of private home funding experts that was put together to help solve some of the challenges that were put out by the Alliance to Ron, then to us. And so there's just been an enormous collaborative effort behind the scenes of about 33 people. And, I'm not going to get all the names right, but I'm going to just say that Heidi and Shelley and Mike and, there's just such a whole list of people to thank, to Chuck, to many people. And if I didn't get your name, that doesn't mean I left you out individually, because there's just so many to thank in that group, because they stepped up to the plate and they actually just got this done quickly. The form itself, as we go through it, is going to be simplistic, and it's going to offer people, for example, like myself, that have no real estate experience, the chance to really simply understand how easy it's going to be to buy a home or sell a home. And I just love this program, Ron, that we've been putting together, and it's going to be an awesome program for the world. And I just, again, thank everyone here to allow us to present this to the group.
One of the things I'd like to say along with that is that the Alliance is opening up. They've got their door wide open. Come on in and see what you need. And we go in there and we get all kinds of ideas of how they can help us. And without an exception, they have always said yes. We're going to be in the beneficiary's back office, and we're going to be monitoring things, and we're going to be doing things that people have not witnessed before, either for a long time or whenever, but not in our lives. So the Alliance is stepping up to the plate. This is their program. They love it. They love us, and they're giving us everything that we can possibly ask for to ensure that this program comes out just beautifully. So the Alliance, let's look to the Alliance. They are our guiding star at the present time.
Okay, shall we begin?
Let's begin.
Okay, so this is the home page of the RSS beneficiary login. Why has it changed?
Well, it's been color coded for the balance of male and female. That's the biggest thing. Well, we're looking at two new programs with Love One Society for the managing directors. The private home funding program will facilitate home purchases and refinances. We've been told that refinance is not the word to use, so we're using home value recovery. And this is for all beneficiaries in conjunction with the RSS beneficiary program. We'll also fund the payoff and any and all existing mortgages. More on that later. That's the basis of the whole program. We're funding homes for new people. Well, we're funding homes for people, and we're also refinancing for those who want to stay in their home but are having trouble making the mortgage payments. But then we're going to be paying off the mortgages too as well. So
awesome.
And so like the RSS program, the private home funding, or PHF, which we all need to get familiar with the phrase, the PHF programs will be administered through the RSS platform. So when a beneficiary goes onto the platform, they will see three categories: the RSS portion, the CAC portion, and the private home funding portion. So they will get on the platform, and this reduces the, once this convoluted way of looking at home financing transactions occurred in the past, it changes once they get on the site to an extremely straightforward, simplistic agreement between the buyer, the seller, and a big part of this is the quantum consciousness in the platform and the QFS system.
Like Don says, we're taking what used to be a convoluted transaction, whether you're speaking of the home purchase or home refinance, and we're reducing it down to an exchange similar to a for sale by owner concept that exists now, but less the manipulations and controls that are still placed on the transaction by what we're calling illegitimate institutions that have no authority or business in the transaction any longer. The terms between the buyer and the seller can be consolidated down into an adapted bill of sale or purchase agreement, whatever words you like the simplicity of buying a car on Craigslist.
So this part of the RSS platform, just very similar to it, is so simplistic that what it does is it allows the program to fund and operate automatically. It will be just very effortless once everything is set up and ready to go. And just like the RSS program is for all managing directors, it'll be a point, a click, and then a conversation piece between buyer, seller, and the quantum consciousness.
Okay, so it's my understanding that moving forward, both the RSS and the PHF programs are both mandatory because they're self-operational. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So why is it called private home funding?
Well, it's called private because only members of Love One Society, we're using our own money and we're using our people and to be as a part of it. If you're not part of us, then our funds are only for our private people. And so it's not a hard thing to sign up and become a member with us. So it's private because we don't want any public stuff getting involved.
Mm-hmm.
And so the home piece basically just means it applies to homes only, does not really cover anything commercially related. In this private home funding, we're strictly talking about homes.
It's funding because we are, as Love One Society managing directors, we're taking the position of the financier or the banks in the transaction. The rest of the transaction is performed by the quantum consciousness, the RSS platform, and the beneficiary.
Awesome. Now, what are we looking at here?
Okay, here we are looking at the back office of the brand new beneficiary. When they go into the platform, they have the ability to exercise these three funding programs. Let's start with a brief explanation of the mortgage elimination program. Okay, the mortgage elimination program has been communicated by the Alliance. It has been communicated by the Alliance that the quickest and simplest way to help beneficiaries to take advantage of these PHF programs is to first eliminate any existing mortgage debt. This process will be administered by the Alliance to the beneficiary's back office. 100% payoff of will be offered to all beneficiaries. Why are we doing it? Why are we paying it off now? The Alliance wants our people to be free and clear of their, so that their properties can be sold and they get the full amount. We know that the mortgages are going to be paid off when the SAR is announced, but we're going to do that now so that everybody can have a chance to get their full mortgage prior to when the announcement for NESARA takes place. We'll get our funds first, and then NESARA will be announced sometime, and that's something that we don't know. It could be a couple of months. Who knows what it is? But we're going to pay off all those mortgages first.
Okay, I love how Kristen has said NESARA by proxy. So how is this all possible?
So the quantum consciousness, we've been told for a long time, has been running simultaneously for a while. And so basically they know the score. They know exactly everything that we're talking about in this program and beyond. And so they have a complete control on everything that's going on. And we've been told that the process to pay off or close out an existing mortgage debt will just be extremely simple. A matter of just a swift click process in the back office for every individual that will sign up as a beneficiary and go onto the site and the platform can then go to the PFG portion of it and get their mortgage paid off.
PFG, was that a slip of the tongue?
Goodness. Sorry about that.
And
That's not the first time that's happened.
Once a mortgage payoff is executed in the RSS beneficiary's back office, the homeowner's title is then considered free and clear in the eyes of the QFS. So basically, the QFS draws a line in the sand and accepts that title's description of owner and property from that point moving forward.
Cool. So what about the fact that there are alloidial titles, deeds, land patents, way back claims, et cetera, et cetera? What happens to all of that stuff?
Or how about the fact that even if you were to pay off your mortgage right now and had no other claims on it, you really don't own your home. Like your car, it is registered to the state. So if push came to shove, you're out of luck. Or what about the fact that the authority of these corporation states is history? All we can do at this point is to take a snapshot of the current situation, get the mortgage companies off our backs, and start new somewhere else. And really, title is just simply the name of the ownership. And so if you are worried about title, the ownership is the thing that is mostly important, and the person, go through the registration and all that sort of stuff, or recordation. It's just identifying who the owner is. We have a way of identifying the owner through our program, and it's more valid than anywhere else because it can never be changed. So it's a brand new thing, and the Alliance is working that out with us.
And Ron, along with that, we've been told again that the quantum computer or consciousness has been out there working behind the scenes. We understand that this process in the entire real estate industry and homes all around the world is just so large. It's just a massive undertaking that we're doing here in the process of this discussion of private home funding. So is it going to be perfect? Absolutely not. I mean, it's such a big change that no one should expect it to be perfect. But if you consider that the entire system of home ownership was set up by the cabal, and it's been that way for quite a while, and now their defunct institutions are out there to try and ensure that you own nothing. And that's so true when you think about it. Then why would you want to spend any more time living in the past with that, when we have to try to figure out which illegal corporation has a claim to the house I currently occupy. Mortgage company, here is your money. I'm moving on. QFS, please hold record of this. That's where we're going.
Awesome.
Correct.
So I thought that the mortgages were going to be forgiven under NASARA.
The premise of this is that we're not waiting for the announcement of NASARA. And in reality, since all mortgage debt is fraud and their game is being exposed and dismantled, our original plan was actually to encourage people to just forget their mortgage debt. But this that's not a comfortable concept for most people. And since we have all the money in the world, it was insisted on by the Alliance to offer this payoff feature so that the transition into the QFS is less stressful. Then the Alliance can go deal with closing the books on the old system if they haven't already.
Okay, so back to this mortgage elimination process. Can we talk more about that?
Yeah. Okay, so since the mortgage company is quietly removed from the title, the homeowner can proceed with either selling the home or refinancing it, what we are calling recovering their home value through the PHF program. It's a major change from what you've had in the past.
And so upon funding on the PHF program, the title will be validated in the mind of the QFS. So in other words, the QFS will recognize upon that payment that the title will be free and clear, and the homeowners will have established unalienable ownership of the property moving forward.
So what that means is that beneficiaries will now enjoy direct control and access to not only their money, but also their homes through the RSS platform.
Can we really even do this? Like, what about the entire framework that is the current real estate industry? What happens to them?
That's a good question. And before we dive into into the other two programs, let's move to a slide, the next slide, and discuss how this system is set up currently.
Okay. So this we have Brent and Sally.
Okay, let's just say Sally wants to sell her house for $400,000 and Brent wants to buy it. Why is it that there are currently so many institutions involved in the transaction? So many when you think about it. You have real estate agents, brokers, appraisers, title and escrow companies, lending institution, the list goes on and on and on. And actually, when you think about it, what authority do these institutions now have with the incoming NASARA? So let's explore that a little further.
Okay, so now we see Brent and Sally who are completely intimidated and being fleeced by the existing system.
And so what our team, what the team of 33 did, the dedicated NRELS team, is they identified some of the biggest unknowns that lie ahead for the real estate industry. Like, for example, what are we going to do about the fact that none of these governments, organizations, counties, licensing boards, et cetera, will have any legitimate authority post NASARA-DESARA? Further, did any of these rules, regulations, endless disclosures, licenses, taxes, fees, et cetera, make the home buying process any safer or better for the buyer and the seller? Who's going to sort through the sordid history of titles, deeds, liens, land patents, et cetera, now that the cabal is gone, like we mentioned before? What weight do any of these concepts have now that maritime law is supposedly dead? And again, if mortgage debt is fraudulent, then why does it need to be forgiven? Can't we just forget it and move on? What about the fact that the Federal Reserve is finished? Who's going to fund housing moving forward? How can we make that scale? Why does a home purchase have to be so complicated and have so many gatekeepers? And the ultimate question is this whole system about securing home ownership, or just making sure that everyone down the line gets their commission or their cut? All of these questions are valid, and it makes it clear to us simple humanitarians that the entire real estate market has nothing to do with making sure people are safe in their homes. At best, they're about profit, and at worst, the entire apparatus is an accomplice in the debt slavery system that we're trying to break free from. And further, the entire banking funding system it is built around is illegal and now broke. So what do we do now?
So I will say that I believe that many realtors, many mortgage brokers are completely unaware of this fraud. So I want to add to that and say that there's no blame on the people at the bottom of the food chain in this industry. They usually are not aware of how fraudulent it is. But now we have a happier solution. Now Brent and Sally have implemented the PHF on the RSS platform.
Before I go on, the most important thing to understand is there is a difference between money now and governments, illegal governments. The Federal Reserve and the governments have defrauded us. We've taken away their most precious tool, and that is the funding. And we're putting it in a private organization where they have absolutely no control over us. We can buy and sell houses to each other. How do we know who owns a home? We have the quantum financial system and the quantum consciousness that helps us with this, and we can prove who has the ownership of a home through our program. So the funding is the thing that makes us different. Now, the PHF program are designed to essentially scrapping the whole mess, at least the components that are based around control, and started over with the programs that make Brent and Sally the priority. If we start from scratch, then why can't our beneficiaries buy a house almost as simply as in buying a car off Craigslist, especially when we have funds and the RSS platform and the quantum consciousness on our side?
Indeed. So how are Brent and Sally going to be protected through this sale? What if Sally has never sold a home and doesn't know what to do?
So it's a great question. The answer would be Sally could hire a real estate agent, but she would contract that service separate. That'll be just up to Sally to determine that. And either via a commission or a flat rate, the agent can still offer listing and sales assistance, but Sally would pay that part separately after closing. There's no reason for that agent to be involved in handing over money or title, or as the platform will have all the tools and forms needed to do the transaction. It would act like a bank, the title company and the escrow company all in one.
What about home inspections?
Another good question. That's another question for Brent and Sally. It's between them. If Brent wants to waive inspections to expedite the process and Sally is good with that, then it's waived, and the forms in the back office will be set up so that these items are identified and either agreed as to how to proceed or waived altogether if desired. It's up to them. And if Brent has a huge checklist of items that he wants done and Sally doesn't want to participate, this is where she can hire an agent that can handle this for her. Or maybe Sally is in rush and is willing to accept an offer from someone that isn't as interested in a long drawn out sale. There's a place for all of these services and concerns, but it is Brent and Sally that are in charge, nobody else. And it is sure easier to do a transaction when money really isn't an issue anymore. There are going to be a lot more what if scenarios that we can discuss when we get to the forms of the transaction. But the bottom line is that we approach this system as if Brent and Sally have the agency and the resources to pull this off. And we're going to make sure that the RSS platform gives them the tools and resources to easily execute this. And, a lot of us aren't necessarily comfortable with the idea that there is, that the transaction can be left to Brent and Sally. The concept that there's no greater authority outside ourselves is what is ruling here.
Can I add one little piece to this? Because by this point, there will be a lot of individuals that really feel uncomfortable with this. And the reason for that is that we were never able to fall into this type of real estate transaction, but it's been dealt this way forever. And so as uncomfortable as it is and may make some people feel, it's actually a simple process to transact a home, buy or sell between a buyer and a seller. And that's the purpose of this private home funding program is to make it simple. The transaction should have never been as difficult in the past as it is now. And so we're changing that to make it simple in the future.
Yes, thank you,
Okay.
Dawn.
So taking a look at the RSS beneficiary back office with these 3 buttons, we've discussed the mortgage elimination and the design premise behind the next 2 programs, but can we take a look at the terms of the home purchase program?
Okay, home purchase program. As discussed, the premise of the home purchase program is to abandon the existing broke, unlawful system and simplify the transaction down to a thorough bill of sale purchase agreement that can be negotiated solely between the buyer and the seller and automatically executed by the RSS. As previously stated, this concept is like a for sale by owner programs, but without all of the manipulations and controls that are still placed on the transaction by illegal institutions that have no authority of business in the transaction. There will still be a place for real estate agents, appraisers, inspectors, etc., that are inspired to facilitate humanity in this endeavor, but they will orbit around the transaction as desired, not in a position to hold the deal hostage, despite both of the buyer and the seller being in agreement. Let's look at the terms of the program.
Yeah, so let's run through the program terms. The private home funding program will finance 90% of the purchase price to the seller. Again, let me say that again. The funding program itself will fund 90% of the purchase price to the seller. Plus, you will be responsible for a 10% down payment to the property. Upon closing, when the closing of the deal between the buyer and the seller is complete, your 10% down payment will immediately be refunded and deposited back into the general cash account on the RSS platform. So in other words, you'll pay that 10% down payment initially. When the deal is signed and closed, you'll get that 10% back. It'll come back to you in that account set up in your beneficiary account. The 90% then becomes amortized over 15 years. So there'll be a monthly payment calculated, and then automatically that monthly payment will be drawn from your account until the equivalent increase in that per minute download has been running for 30 days. So let me explain that. So the payment itself has to accumulate over a 30-day period before we can start to draw down on it. And so after 30 days it has accumulated, the automatic download will pull that money, relative amount of the mortgage pay down, out of there to be able to pay the mortgage. The increased download will accumulate separately and will not be accessible throughout the month. In other words, the beneficiary will not be able to go in and access that money. They can't get to it. It's only intended to be used for your monthly payment. And another couple things to understand about this program is that there will be no encumbrances put on the property as a condition of funding. So we want to fund homes. That's the bottom line. And the sale is transacted between the buyer and the seller through the RSS platform. Quick reminder, both parties need to be a RSS beneficiary to participate.
I'd like to just say the 10% down is given back to the person who's buying the property. The actual amount of money paid to the owner is 100% of the value of the home. So there's 10% that's gone awry from this example as far as the owner getting the full amount. Because we're talking about giving the 10% back. Well, that doesn't go to the owner, that goes to him. Well, who pays that other amount? The 10% for the owner of the home. And the fact is that the 10% will be given back, but it will the full amount of the value of the home will be given to the owner, rather than just 90%. Am I making...
Very good point.
Okay, let's break this down a little further. Sally is asking $400,000 for her home. When Sally and Brent agree on the details of the sale, the RSS platform is going to pull the down payment, the $40,000, out of Brent's account and hold it in escrow in the platform until the deal closes. Now, if he backs out of the deal after agreeing to move forward, then he loses the $40,000, just like how earnest money is used now in real estate deals. Now, at the time of closing, Sally will receive her full $400,000 from the managing director's account. That's how she will be funded. Managing director's account straight to Sally's account. And the RSS platform will give Brent back his $40,000 that he originally staked in order to proceed with the agreement. It will put that money back into his general cash account so he can spend it however he wants.
Yes, and I would like to add that the mortgage, or let me say that again, the loan will be at a 0% interest rate. So
Yes.
that would be it. So why 10% down? Why not 5% or 20%? But why 10?
It is best to attempt to meter funds back to beneficiaries without overheating or slowing down the process. We still need to require skin in the game, but not so much that it hinders the transaction. The median home in the U.S., value in the U.S., is, as of January 2022, was around $422,000. Given the amount of money coming in through the beneficiary package, 5% was too little and over 10% was too much. We're trying to get people into homes as quickly as possible without overheating the transaction or the situation. Now, I just have another statement there to make. We want this to look pretty much like it's a normal purchase of a home. And so it really doesn't matter if it's 5 or 10%. We're using 10%. The 10% would be an indicator of the price of the home that they could buy. So if they're saving up for a particular home and then they get sold away and it's $400,000, whatever, and you come up with $40,000, then you can go around and shop for a $400,000 home. So that gives you a target for the homes that you're trying to buy. And so if we only have 5%, then it's different than at 10%. But we've chosen 10%. As the best price or the best way to go on this.
Okay. So what if a beneficiary buys a house and after 60 months wants to move and take advantage of the home purchase program again?
Okay, so at that point, the beneficiary, if they buy a house and they wait 5 years, they are eligible to exercise another round home purchase. They are able to execute the home purchase program once again. And at that point, they'd still have 10 years of quote unquote payments before their assistance would naturally close out. Now, if they wanted to exercise another funding program, then they would have to manually pay off the balance of their assistance in order to proceed with another one. So this is not a typical loan in that there is no interest. And this is not charity, it's just assistance.
Cool. Now, this is the back office that shows the home funding program. Can you explain this, please?
Yes. On the home funding portion of the dashboard, you'll see some squares. And then the home funding, there's the beneficiary funds, and that's an accounting for their funds from the beneficiary program. But the home funding is accumulating in this square. Now, the money is a certain amount of money is going to go into that square every day, so that at no time is there a lack of money going into there. There's a certain amount every day, and that's designed so that at the end of the month you'll have the full payment. When the payment is made, then those funds will disappear from that box. The box to the right is telling you how much extra money that you're getting for that box to make the payment. The little pie chart. Yeah, the pie chart is designed to help you to understand how much money is left to pay out, and how much money and so the difference between the two is your equity position. So that's just going to be a very quick thing. Each month as the payment is made, that line will move a little bit. And so you'll have an understanding of how much is left at any point in time. And then your payment and how it's being made, and then how much is going for that. So that's a kind of a little capsule of how it's set up, so that you need to know. If you want to know, there it is. If you don't need to know, then it's still there.
Comment is that this slide is going to take some time to get used to, because in previous times we were used to being able to take our money and contribute to paying the mortgage. In this case, all you need to do is to get on the site to just review the accrual for the month so you can see it. We're actually not making any payments. And so for a lot of people, they're going to feel uncomfortable because they feel like that they're not going to know whether or not they need to make a mortgage payment, when in actuality, this screen will help them be able to visually see it and know that at a certain point in time that money automatically comes out, so they don't have to worry. So this is going to take a lot of stress away from people who normally like to be in control of their money when they're stroking the check to pay the mortgage. This way, they can just visually see it without having to worry about it.
How about the terms for the Home Value Recovery Program?
The Home Value Recovery Program is a one-time funding event that will provide you 100% of your existing home value in a one-time lump sum. This is limited to one beneficiary per property. If a beneficiary exercises this program, there is a 60-month waiting period before they can exercise the new home purchase program. The home value can be established a number of ways, either an appraisal or an old mortgage statement, a Zillow estimate, etc. The age of the document is not important. We encourage you to find the document that is the higher value. The RSS will accept it if it's an authentic document. Also, reasonable explanations of home value and investment are also accepted along with the documentation. And like with the private home purchase program, there'll be no encumbrances put on the property as a condition of funding. The funding is approved and transacted through the RSS platform as well. If there are two beneficiaries on the existing title, they both have to agree on three things in order to cash out the value of the home. Number one, they have to agree on the established value they are requesting funding for, the cash out amount. Number two, they have to agree on how the funding will be distributed between the two of them, whether that's 50-50, 70-30, 60-40, whatever it is, they have to agree what the distribution will be. And number three, they have to agree on whose name is on the title moving forward. Is it going to remain with both parties on the title or just one? Once they both agree to the above terms, the RSS platform will proceed with funding and record the terms of ownership that was agreed upon.
Okay, so then Ron, if you have a couple and both names are on the title, what will they do?
Well, the best thing to say here is whatever they want to do. If they agree to have the wife exercise the recovery funding package and they agree to have both of their names on the title moving forward, then that works, and the husband will still have the option of exercising the new home purchase program at any time, hopefully for the benefit of both of them. She would have to wait 60 months before being able to exercise a new home purchase program.
Okay, but what if they don't get along?
Well, they're going to have to come to an agreement in order to cash out the value of the home and move forward. So let's say they decide to separate and it isn't exactly friendly. They're going to have to come to an agreement on their own. It can be as simple as one party saying, okay, you exercise the home value package, give me 50% of the cash out, and you can have the house moving forward. I'll move on and go buy a different house utilizing the new home purchase program. Then the other party that's keeping the house would not be able to purchase a new home for 60 months, but they'd have the 50% of the cash out value in their account, and they'd have a free and clear house that they could sell if they wanted and use all those funds to go buy another house on their own if they desired. So it's designed to be as generous as possible to make it easy for people to agree on a desirable path forward, but the details of that are left between them.
Cool. Okay.
That is cool.
Very cool.
So can you explain how, like the home purchase program, this is not really a loan?
The Alliance wanted you the individual who has had a mortgage would like to pay that off and get that out of there, and then you get your full recovery of the value of the home. And so we're asking you to find the best place. And if there's been a market crash in your area, and you can show that, then use the higher value. So it's important for you as the individual who has a home to get your full value if you're going to do the recovery program, which is just simply getting your funds, your value of your home, full value of your home to you if that's what you want to do. And then you can go through the financing portion of it, and we give you your 15 years to go over the loan. So that's 15 years at 0% interest. And then that's where the box with the accumulation of the monthly payment comes in. And so you're paying back a loan, and that's going to be, so you're getting your cash out, and then you're paying for it, not paying for it. We're paying for it over a 15-year period of time. At such time, then you'll have complete ownership of the home, and you've already got your equity out of it, and so you can go either buy a new home or do whatever you want to do with it. Invest in things and do what people do with it when they refinance their home. What you do is none of our business, and we're not interested in that sort of thing. So
essentially, it sounds like it's a gift, a financial gift of the full value of their home.
Yeah, it's like getting your money back that's been stolen from you.
Perfect. Awesome. So, in conclusion,
So the Alliance has confirmed that housing is the top priority for LWS members. We've kind of talked about that. And if you haven't, through this presentation, gotten it in our heads that this is something really huge, well, we'll just go ahead and tell you. The Alliance has confirmed that this is a very big piece of the transition we're all about to go through. So these private home funding programs streamline and standardizing a housing solution that will operate in harmony with the incoming NASARA, while also recognizing that not all towns may have CACs and not all managing directors might be inspired or qualified to implement such a huge and comprehensive housing program. The program's simplicity and automation will allow all Alliance vetted beneficiaries in all locations access to true home ownership, regardless of whether they're in a location with a managing director. Further, managing directors can now fund housing for the entire chain of beneficiaries effortlessly, simply and effortlessly. Any one of our managing directors have enough funds to refinance the entire planet's housing inventory on any given day, so funding will never be an issue. Managing directors are inspired to get more involved in housing solutions, so they can choose to build support systems around this new streamlined funding program. And so one of the comment along with that is that you're going to have a lot of questions about this program. And so before you think of asking questions of things that have happened and gone on in the past, try to erase that from your mind and think of the questions of this new, simplistic, comprehensive program going forward. And so don't try to relate it to things going on in the past, because that's where it is. That's where it's going to stay in the past. Let's talk about how the system is currently in your mindset going forward, because this is the program we're going to use. Loved One Society, partnering with the QFS and the RSS platform, is transferring wealth, security, and freedom back to the people of the planet with as few clicks and as few controls as possible.
I'd like to just say one thing there, too, in conclusion. The property, the title, instead of being recorded at a county level, is going to be in the quantum financial system. There's proof of the transaction there, there's a bill of sale that transfers the ownership, and not title, ownership of the home to the new buyer. All of that documentation is justified and proven in the RSS platform as well as the quantum financial system. There is no need for any government to be involved in anything to do with homes. As sacred as a home is, they knew that the cabal knew that if they convoluted the whole process and made you subject to losing your home because you lost a job and you couldn't pay for it, all of that whole disgusting display of power over other people is going away. And those people have been the ones that are going to get the problems, are going to get their criminal activities taken care of. And we're going to be free. And this is the Alliance way of freedom in purchasing a home and living in it, and it will never be foreclosed on. There's no vehicle to foreclose on it. There's no loan that's been given that is being used as your home is being used as collateral. None of that will happen. If we give you a loan, it will never be a collateralized loan by your home. The home is sacred, and it will never be in a position like the cabal has done before to take it away involuntarily. So it's yours forever if you want it.
Perfect.
That's my conclusion.
Well, I just want to thank you all very much, especially Kristen, for spending hours and hours and hours writing this up and flying to Utah to meet with Ron and discuss it twice. And the whole entire team with Amanda leading the pack and Dominic as well. And every other one of you who has done conference calls. The Alliance heard exactly what you were saying. And based on the collective consciousness of the group, this is what they came up with. And I think it's beautiful.
Well, thank you. I think it will prove to be a really magnificent way of home ownership again.
Think of all the people that are going to be able to access homes now, simply, easily, and it's truly their home. The dwelling, the land that it's on, it's going to be theirs.
Kristen, do you want to close with anything?
The only thing that might be worth mentioning to get out ahead of some questions is, there's going to be localized housing issues. This isn't going to solve every single issue, but these are strong rails that managing directors can then devise solutions that are local to them and hook on to this program. So we understand that it's not going to solve every problem, but it's going to do some heavy lifting for sure. And then that leaves local issues to managing directors to solve for in their areas.
That's a good comment. I like to hear that. I'm sorry, Dominic, because in California, as you know, it's a little different of a market here. And so we want to make it easier for these young people to be able to save out the money. So if the managing director is able to have discretion to apply these principles and also maybe other assistance to help these people. So I think that's awesome to hear.
Yeah, if you have a managing director that says, well, wait a second, I know how I can help the Brent and Sally in my area with my localized conditions. This is what I'm going to do that. Then they can go devise those solutions, build them out, and tack them on, run them through their CAC.
Perfect. Okay, are we ready to wrap this up? Ron, close us out, please.
The Alliance has given us the directions to travel on this private home funding. It is their brainchild. They have revealed it to us as the way to move into the future. And if you can imagine how fast the beneficiary program is going to spread throughout the world, this is also because of funds that they can get. this is now making it one of the biggest ways, or the finest ways, or the best ways for everybody in the world to have a home, and we will fund them for that. That's the way this is all working out. To have homes when we move into the golden age of mankind and not have financial stress and upsets because of the cabal's way of dealing with us and our homes and so forth. So this is a solution, a major solution that the Alliance has had waiting in store for us until we were ready to do it. And now we are in the process of getting all of the things done. The rails of this train set have been laid, and from there on, it's just some of the question and answers, and we'll find the best answers to the questions and resolve any problems that may come up. So this is a major factor, and we are so blessed to have the Alliance who's leading us into the ways that they want us to love one society to be, so they can fulfill the creation of the golden age of mankind. Thank you for all of your participation with us, and we love and appreciate you. We love our managing directors, and we've provided you a new way to make homes available for anybody. And I hope that you can appreciate that without a lot of effort on your part. So you don't have to be sophisticated to do this. You're going to be blessed because of this. And your money that you have, your sacred monies that have been given to you as part of your project, of your humanitarian activities, this is going to fulfill a lot of that because of the numbers of people who will be put into homes that will last forever for them. So thank you very much. Thank you to the panel and Dom and Kristen and Tracy. This has been a good thing. We'll fine tune it and get things moving as we need to. So blessings to all. And with that, we'll say goodbye.